Hello everybody, and today we're going to be learning about Bootstrap grids. So what Bootstrap grids essentially are is that they kind of show the layout of the web page. And most importantly, since we're talking about Bootstrap, it's responsive web pages. So for every layout or for every grid that you put in on a web page, it's going to have a span number. This number must be 12 and nothing greater than 12. So either less than or equal to 12. You can split this into several different parts, but that must be a multiple of 12. So that's essentially what we're going to be doing in this video. I'm going to show you two ways how you can do Bootstrap grids. So the first way is probably the simplest way in my opinion. First thing you need to do is that you need to start out with the body, like that. After that, you then need to add a container fluid class. Because what a container fluid does is that it just spreads across the whole user interface, the whole viewport that you can see. So that's why we need to do a container fluid. And then we can end that there. After that, we then need to do a row class. The reason for this is something I will explain later, but this is very essential, otherwise you will not get the final product that you wanted in the first place. So then after this, we're ready to make our grids or columns. So in order to make a grid, the class is a column. So that's why I'm probably going to be referring it a lot to columns instead of a grid. They're the same thing. So you put a column class. After this, we then need to pick a color for this grid. You can do whatever you want, but the format to do that is style and then equal sign. And then in quotes, you need to do background color, which is the property, and then you need the value, which is the color name. This can be done in the 4 colors that I've taught in my previous video. I'll probably make a playlist on that and I'll go into there later. I'm not exactly sure if you can use Bootstrap colors. I need to go back and check on that. If you can, then I'll probably leave it in a comment below. But yeah. And then let's properly nest our element. So from there, we have made our first grid. So let's just save it, go to our file, and just save it, and then you open it. Oh, there. So, as you see, nothing showed up. And there's a reason why nothing showed up. And that's because, in this case, in Bootstrap, it's not really, I don't know why it's like that, but you have to include some sort of text between the two elements, between the nested element and the first element, like right here. You have to include some sort of text. Usually, a lot of times it works without the text, but this time it's actually needed and you need to do it. So let's just do a extra or a big container with it's not a container. I'm gonna say it's a big grid with a span of 12. I'll talk a little bit more about span later, but as of now I'm just showing you how to make a grid. And it should work, a big grid with the span of 12. So next we are going to show you what happens, or I'm going to show you what happens if you don't include the row. So if I don't include the row and then I put one more line of code, by the way, I'm just creating another grid. You just copy and paste what you did here with the different background color. But I'm just gonna retype the same thing to show y'all the process of making a grid. It's the same 3 steps. First thing, you need the column class. Then you need the background color, then you need your text, and properly nest it, and then you're done. So then you need a background, then you need your color, your property, and then your value. I'm gonna do turquoise. Try to put a different color so that you can actually see the difference. And then close that. I'm gonna do a medium grid with a span of 6. Change that. And that medium grid with a span of 6, medium grid with a span of 6. And I think we're good to go. So what you see here is that's what happens if you don't put the row. you see that it just gives a line break and the next grid will show on the next line. If we actually add the row, then essentially what's going to happen is that it's not going to like line break, I guess you can call it. That's how I've been calling it. It's just not going to line break. Like that. Just like that. So now let's show you the difference. And there you have it. That's how it works. So I hope you understood the difference. That is why we include row. This is what you want. The other one is what you don't want. So it's really important that you include the row class so that this can happen. So now we're going to talk about span. So in my original result, let me get rid of this. I showed you, and you saw it's a span of 12. So this is kind of like the layout. It lays out the web page. It's kind of like, that's what a grid does. So this is one whole grid, and one whole grid has a span of 12. So like I said in the beginning, you can split this into several different parts, but that number must be divisible by 12. So like you can only split it into fourths, you can only split it into sixths, you can't split it into fifths. And then you just there, and then let's do it one more time. Y'all probably know what already is gonna happen. Let me just copy and paste it, but I hope you understand how you're supposed to make the grids. If you had any questions, leave them in the comments down below. I'll do my best to answer them. Or you can visit my website at kidscoding.com. I should have a lesson on there. So anyway, we're good, and we'll save it, and then we'll come over here and we'll reload. It's not a span of 12. I'm gonna get that so that's not misleading. It's actually a span of 6 because we split it into 2. So that's a span of 6. Oh, did I not save it? No, I didn't. There, now it has a span of 6. If I were to do this one more time, it's going to be split into thirds, meaning that each of the thirds will have a span of 4. So that is essentially what I mean when I say span. And then it's going to go on and on further. You can do it how many ever times you want until you get to one small tiny 12 of them, because that's the farthest you can get to. So that is the first way how you can do a column. Column grid. The second way that you can do it is that you can essentially specify the size as the class. So like I can like specify what am I doing? Okay, I can just specify the size. So just make that large, and then you also specify the span, which is 6. This does the same result, it's just another way you can do it. And then like that, make that 6, and make that 6. So just to recap, we're still using the column class. We need a hyphen, and then we need the size of the column. We're doing a large. You can do small, medium, extra small. There's so many other sizes for the grids. And then you need the span number, which is 6 in our case, because it's 2 large grids, 2 large and separate grids. And it essentially does the same thing. So yeah, that was just another way we could do it. So that was pretty much it. It was just a short video on how to make grids. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel. I'm planning on doing a 7 days of Bootstrap uploads. That is next week. It will start from Monday and it will end all the way to Sunday. Stay tuned. Every day I will upload. It's just a way to compensate for what's been happening. But yeah, anyway, if you're interested, be sure to follow my socials. Check out my website at kidscoding.com, and I'll see y'all next time.